Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. Hope you are all doing well. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Whatever it is you were doing. For some of us, I know, again, as I mentioned yesterday, I know it's a hard time for some of us who are experiencing loss and in all forms. And I just wanted to, just send out my love to you. Hope you were able to, spend yesterday with those you love, those around you who can love and encourage you. And so, but I'm just so happy to, um, I had a great day. I spent time with some friends that I had not really spent time with since the pandemic. I know a lot of us are coming out of the pandemic, and we're just starting to have some normalcy again. It was just, it's just weird. I realized yesterday was the first time I took off my mask for a few minutes around people that are not in my house. And it was just really still scary. But, I quickly put it back on after I ate and all of that stuff. But it's very, very wild. Just sort of getting back into the routine and getting back into life after COVID. I still wear my mask everywhere. I don't go anywhere without my mask. But, not everybody does. But, anyways, welcome again to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola, Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. And again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are biased, we are petty, but all in love, I guess. But anyways, our faves were relatively quiet, I will say. We didn't know what they were doing yesterday, but today we got this. We got a little bit of what they've been up to, and I think that looks like a picture of Meghan and probably James Holt in the foreground there. He is the president of the CEO of Archwell. I want to say I forgot what his title is all of a sudden, but he is doing a lot of great work for Archwell. Actually, he was the one in Uvalde, Texas, for the playground. He was the one there. He was the one in New York picking up the award when they got the award for their contribution in helping Afghan refugees. So he is, I think, the president of or the CEO of Archwell. I think Mandana Diana is the president, and I think he might be the CEO of something like that. I forget what his title is. I'll remember. I'll look it up again. I remembered it and I forget. But anyways, enough of that. They were doing what they were doing. Well, at least they said earlier this week. And so this was an Archwell site today. It says earlier this week, the Archwell Foundation team helped to prepare a Thanksgiving lunch for over 300 downtown women, 300 Downtown Women's Center residents in Los Angeles. DWC provides a wide array of resources to decrease barriers and to end homelessness for all women, including female veterans and their families, women with severe physical and mental health concerns, and survivors of domestic violence. So they are catering to a lot of women with a lot of different needs, including being veterans. And so it was so great that they were able to go and, serve in that way, again, Thanksgiving, so it was just, it's fantastic to see. And, they're making pies that looks like, what is the, I'm assuming that's like sweet potato pie or something. I'm not a pie person. Yesterday I had pie and I could only eat a little bit of it. I'm not, it's just too squishy. I'm not into squishy food. And so it was interesting, but just squishy. And so I could only have I had the crust part because that was hard. So, but I'm sure the residents and the ladies who they were catering for enjoyed their meal. So it was great to see Archwell out serving for Thanksgiving. And talk about James Holt. James Here he is again in green. He was serving at Project Angel Food on Thanksgiving Day yesterday. So he posted it, best way to enjoy Thanksgiving, joining the amazing people at Project Angel Food and other incredible volunteers, including Eric Garcetti, to help get more than 7,000 meals out the door today. And so absolutely fantastic work, James Holt, again doing great work with Archwell. And if you remember, this is the same organization that Harry and Meghan volunteered with in 2020. When they had just got here, we saw them out. I didn't pull in the pictures because they were all tabloid picture, paparazzi pictures, and TMZ, I guess, paid off someone to give them security footage from, like our apartment building security footage of Harry and Meghan delivering packages. So I was like, no, I'm not using those. So hence, we're just going to get Omid Scobie's writing. This is from 2020 with Harry and Meghan volunteering for Project Angel Food. And it says, Prince Harry and Meghan delivers meals for people with life-threatening illnesses in Los Angeles. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex wear protective gear as they spend 2 days volunteering for Project Angel Food. And the article says the Duke and Duchess of Sussex first worked with the non-for-profit on Easter Sunday, April 12th, when they took to the road to help to deliver a week's worth of prepared meals and emergency kits with non-perishables to dozens of people who are sick to shop and cook for them, who are too sick to shop and cook for themselves. And it goes on to say, they told us they heard our drivers were overloaded and wanted to volunteer to lighten the load. Project Angel Food Executive Director Richard Ayub told WeHoville, a local news site serving the West Hollywood community. It's really, really amazing. We loved having them, and they were the most down-to-earth people. So that was in 2020 when Harry and Meghan Easter, that's when they were there serving the people at Project Angel Food. So it's great to see Archwell continuing that, and James Holt, being there yesterday serving with Eric Garcetti. So they're awesome. What else is happening? Oh, leaving a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving news. The last, going over to Shutter Island for a few. The last time we saw these folks, these African leaders, was in a bus. They were in the UK in a bus, traveling to the Queen's funeral. And as we know, we talked about it at length, is the fact that a lot of heads of state had to travel to and fro the Queen's, whether it's the funeral or the reception thing they had before the funeral, all of that stuff. They had to travel. They were bussed around the UK. And, of course, we talked about, especially the Arab team were like, what? When you come here and we give you all these millions, we don't, when you come to us, we don't treat you like a schoolboy and put you in a bus. We treat you like the king that you are. And, at least, at the time, the prince that you are. And so they were highly offended, naturally. And so, but these African leaders are all in a bus being bussed around, and they're, mugging it up for the camera, at least the one in the back. That lady is like, let me just block my face so nobody knows who I am. But anyway, so the last time we saw presidents and stuff on in the UK was in this bus being shuttled. Of course, while they're being shuttled in the bus, our wonderful president and first lady were in their limo. They're, we're like, that would not work for American president. He will not be shuttled in a bus. And so obviously not. They brought I don't know what they called. I know it used to be called a beast, so I don't know what his limo is called. But they, of course, did not take the bus. They traveled, as you can see in the back of them, their car in the back of them there, But so again, double standard, but hey, they didn't seem to mind, it seemed. But anyway, so that was the last time we saw them. And so flash forward to this past week, on the 22nd, here is President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, in the UK for a state visit. The UK have, what is it? I think it's like a $30 billion trade deal with South Africa. So maybe they're trying to make up for pushing him in a bus the last time he was in the UK. But anyway, so the UK pretty much rolled out the red carpet for Prime Minister Ramaphosa. And so he arrived and, to much pomp and circumstance, being greeted by the King and the Queen, and also the Prince and Princess of Wales, Kate and William. And so they had and they also had a state dinner and all of that stuff. And a little bit, actually, let me move myself out of the way so we can read the bottom there. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Get myself out of the way there. And I'll get all of the banner out of the way as well. We'll get back to the banner a little bit later. So the royal family website, their Twitter account posted about it this evening. The King and Queen consort are hosting a state banquet on behalf of the nation for the President of the Republic of South Africa. Their Majesties are pictured alongside His Excellency in the music room at Buckingham Palace. Oh, they have a music room. Oh, well. Anyway, so he is all smiles there, with Charles and Camilla. And again, they had a big shindig for the President of South Africa. And I'm so appreciating Omid Scobie and, what he's been doing and how he's grown in this role. And, I remember when Omid started writing, just calling things out as he saw it, how much bullying he got from the other reporters in the British press. They were bullying him to no end. And, in hopes that he would sort of change his mind and not call things out and really just be a sycophant for the royal family and be a PR for the royal family, but he has chosen to not. And so it is very, very satisfying to see him just call things out as they are, because everyone else is like, oh, this this state visit, and it's about the dresses and about the tiaras and it's about the food and it's about the pomp and the circumstance and all of that stuff, and the revelry of all of it. And Scobie, I love it. Scobie is just calling things out as he saw it, and so he wrote an article in his weekly article at Yahoo, and the article is like stolen jewels and the monarchy's colonial past, which will always be the elephant in the room until properly addressed. And it's just like, Scobie's like, yeah, let's talk about the stolen jewels that you're not having on display. And so his article, and we'll get back to grinning Mr. Ramaphosa, President Ramaphosa, in a second. But let's also take out our brand. All of our stuff is sort of in the way of my article today. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So Scobie's article, it basically is talking about, all the things. There are all of these pieces from Africa, and, that sort of either represents Africa or was given to them as a gift, whatever. So they have all these from South Africa. So they have all these different artifacts and stuff from South Africa that, that Mr. Ramaphosa, I guess it was an exhibit for him to look at and admire and, sort of to bring the two countries together. So, but the things that were not on display were the things that Scobie is writing about. And so the article says the exhibit was a curious collection of items, also including a chess set gifted from Mandela to Prince Philip in 1996, and a photo of Charles with the Spice Girls in Johannesburg. But it's fascinating. But if fascinating artifacts from South Africa with royal links were the order of the day, it was missing the most precious and important items, the stolen ones. I love it. I love it. Blunt and to the point. And so a little bit further into the article, he says the topic of colonial theft remains a front of the mind of many in South Africa, especially since the Queen's death in September, which saw calls for reparations intensify. But while it was hoped that the subject would come up during this visit, it remained swept under the carpet this week. Also in the article, it says days before Ramaphosa left for the UK, a poll in South Africa Times newspaper saw 83% of readers say they wanted to see their president come back with the stolen gems. 2 months earlier, the South African MP Voyo Zungula led reinvigorated calls for Britain to return the diamonds. And so Prince Charles is giving a speech, for the people there. I guess it was like seven. Oh, I guess the top part of my of the bottom thing got cut off, but it's like I think 170 guests were in the ballroom. So Prince Charles was giving a speech to the 170 guests in the ballroom with Miss Ramaphosa, and that was the state dinner. And so this is what Charles said. It says, speaking to Ramaphosa and 170 guests in the ballroom of Buckingham Palace, he said, which is King Charles, while there are elements of this history, of that history, I'm so sorry, let's say that again. While there are elements of that history which provokes profound sorrow, it is essential that we seek to understand them. As I said to the Commonwealth leaders earlier this year, we must acknowledge the wrongs which have shaped our past if we are to unlock the power of our common future. So first and foremost, this is just imitating what Prince Harry said a couple of years ago when the British press attacked him, that they must acknowledge the wrongs that they did if they are to move forward. This is exactly what Prince Harry said when he was speaking to the youth of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. And the British press went to town attacking Harry, that he didn't understand what about the Commonwealth, and he didn't all of this stuff that he supposedly didn't understand. And here now is King Charles saying the exact same thing. But look at what he says. While there are elements of the history which provoke profound sorrow, it's all well and good that Prince Charles is sorrowful and all, which is the same tone that he spoke about, when he spoke in Barbados about reparations, or at least what little he did address of that, and about the past atrocities of the British Empire on the people of the Caribbean. And it's just this, it provokes profound sorrow. Well, that's all fine that you're sorrowful, but feeling sorry isn't an apology, isn't taking responsibility and ownership of what your people did to the people of South Africa and all the other colonies that were around. You're feeling profound sorrow. That's for you to make you look good, like, oh, I'm so sorrowful. That has nothing to do with the people that your people have brutalized and raped and pillaged and stole from. That has nothing to do with them. You could be all sorrowful and fine, but that isn't owning what your people did. And another thing Prince Charles went on to say, we must acknowledge the wrongs which has shaped our past. Well, when exactly is he planning to acknowledge them? He keeps saying, we must acknowledge. Well, on the 22nd, when this state dinner would have been the perfect time for him to say specifically what exactly they did and take ownership of that. Saying we must acknowledge, it's like, well, how about we just put a date to that? Are you going to acknowledge it today, tomorrow, next week? Like, when exactly are you going to acknowledge it? And then it goes on to say that, where was that? even before that, it's a, he said, like, it is essential that we see, one, that the elements of the history provoke profound sorrow, and it's essential that we seek to understand them. Like, I don't think anyone is confused about what happened. I'm sorry, the people of South Africa and every other colony that around the world are not confused about what the British Empire did. They're not confused. So I'm not sure what he's talking about. Like, it's essential that we seek to understand him. You're 70 years old. When exactly are you planning to actually understand it? Because I guarantee nobody is seeking to do anything. Every single colony or former colony that you brutalized and stole from understand perfectly what you did, and understand that your family, the UK, needs to make reparations. They need to pay reparations for what you did. You need to own it, and you need to apologize. No one is seeking to understand anything, because everyone understands it perfectly well. And again, this is the nonsense narrative that Prince Charles does every single time. We saw him do it in Barbados. We saw, William picked up the same narrative in Jamaica, and all of these. Oh, we need, it gives me, it provokes profound sorrow. We need to understand. We need to acknowledge the wrong. When exactly are you going to do any of these things? Exactly. How about we sit down and put a date, on when you're going to acknowledge it? When you're going to, the date when you're going to sit down and understand and say what you understand about what your ancestors did, And so it's this nonsense narrative, which means absolutely nothing at all in any sense of the word. And again, the people of South Africa are sitting there looking for their leader to bring this up. And according to, in Scobie's article, he talks about these stolen gems that are locked away either in Buckingham Palace or the Tower of London or wherever they're locked away at, weren't there on display. And the thing about it, which really irritates me, is that the president of South Africa just sat there grinning. His picture is like grinning at Prince Charles's nonsense. And this is one of the things that why this whole, we're a part of the Commonwealth and all of this nonsense for me is, yes, South Africa is already a republic, so it's, they don't have to, England doesn't rule them or whatever. But I think it for me, it goes back to what we've been talking, about with, especially members of Caribbean countries and stuff who are still under the rule of, or at least still have the royal family as their head of state, the king as their head of state now, and why they don't quickly achieve the things that they want, i.e. reparations, i.e. apology. In this case, your jewels, your stolen jewels from the UK. And I think one of the things that I notice is that a lot of these leaders are so enamored with this power. They love the fact that, they have a proximity to royalty. And so they're not in any kind of hurry to rock the boat. And so I see the same thing in the dragging of their feet, whether it's Jamaica or Antigua or whomever it is that's looking and really supposed to be fast forwarding and fast tracking their nation to being a republic, and that kind of dragging their feet in a lot of ways. I'm sure the people of South Africa would not want to see a grinning president here with Prince Charles when they have all this stolen jewels. I'm sure the people of South Africa would want to know that their president has brought this up, and this is seriously a conversation, and not just in private, but that, it's publicly, that the king knows that it is not okay that the UK have their stolen jewels and they want it back. Set a date. You're coming to a state visit. You're right in the place where your stolen stuff is. And you're sitting there grinning with the people who stole it? And yes, you could say, okay, King Charles wasn't alive then, whatever. But he is the king now. He is the one that is inheriting all of that, inherited all of that stuff, and inherited control of all of that stuff. This is the person that you need to bring with. You do not need to be sitting there grinning. I don't care what your conversation is with Charles at that moment. You know, maybe they were sharing an innocent joke. I don't care. You know, you will bust around like a schoolboy, according to those Arab leaders, when you came for the Queen's funeral. And now they're, you know, and again, this whole state thing is because they're trying to shore up their trade deal with South Africa. And I think it's 30 billion in trade with South Africa. So they're trying to make sure that's on the up and up with the president. Use that as leverage, please, you know, to make some demands. And bring it up, at least. Bring it up. It's like letting people know. You don't just sit there grinning. And this is the thing that really, really irritates me. If I was South African, I would really be irritated to see these pictures. Really seriously be irritated. And again, for me, it goes back to their comfortability and their loving the idea of being close and have, you know, proximity to royalty. He doesn't seem to be in any way, you know, in a hurry to get his stuff back. As long as he, you know, he could come to the Buckingham Palace and he could feel royal like for a minute. And just, I don't know, this, and you know, if there's South African squaddies in the chat, maybe you guys feel differently about it. So you can tell me, maybe I'm just going off on, you know, and that could be the case. Maybe I'm out of place and stepping out of line on this, but you can tell me how you feel about it. For me, I just feel irritated. And especially for someone, for all of these years, that all of this stuff that has happened to the people, and not happened, but that the British Empire did to the people of South Africa, to have your president here, you know, knowing he has your stolen stuff and knowing that they are completely refusing to pay a reparation, and to have this man sit there talking about, oh, he feels profound sorrow and it's time they should seek to understand and acknowledge. And I'm like, that would, and talk about, if nothing else would have wiped the grin off my face, I would have definitely stood up and said something, you know, and not just sit there and, you know, you leave. And of course, I think it was a 2-day visit, so I'm sure he's probably back in South Africa now. But it's just, for me, it's like, well, when are you going to address these things? If you're going to come all the way here, be in the same building that probably all those stolen jewels are, when exactly are you planning to, when are you going to address them then? You know? And so for me, it's just so disappointing. So very disappointing, you know. And again, a lot of people just don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to rock the boat. They're comfortable being in the presence of royalty, and the needs of their people just don't really, you know, it's not on the forefront of their mind. I don't want to accuse someone of not caring about their people, but this need, at least, is not on the forefront of his mind. And so it just is very, oh God, very sickening to me. But anyways, enough of Charles's mess. Queen Camilla decided it wasn't bad enough, you know, over the past few days. And I'm sure you guys have been, you know, seeing it on Twitter, where the British press have been, you know, kicked it into high gear, attacking Harry and Meghan, because in their, you know, to them, Harry and Meghan's stance against racism, especially in the royal family, has, you know, just really just brought out the ire in all of the usual ones in the British press. And the interview that Carrie gave, where she talked about structural racism and how Harry and Meghan knew if calling it out, when calling it out, they would be ostracized and all of those things, and they did it anyway. So people have taken that to say, oh, that's the only reason why Harry and Meghan are getting the award from the Robert Kennedy Foundation, Social Justice Foundation, which is part, but there are all the other things, you know, that Harry and Meghan do, for example, mental health and advocating for, you know, vaccines and all of those things. So British press have kicked into high gear, attacking the royal family and attacking Harry and Meghan. How dare they destroy the royal family by calling them racist? How dare they? How dare they? They should be ashamed to take that award. I mean, they've just been falling over themselves, falling over a cliff with this thing. And so, but leave it to the royal family to just always prove Harry and Meghan right. It's just like, I can imagine some in the tabloids thinking, there's so much we can do to help y'all. We have been falling all over ourselves trying to attack Harry and Meghan and trying to prove you're not racist, but the royal family can't help themselves. It's who they are. It is in their blood. It's like, so obviously, we won't see this headline in the UK. This is a Daily Sweden, a Swedish outlet. Royal racist, Queen's consort Camilla in fresh racism storm. Daily Sweden reports Queen Camilla of the United Kingdom, the wife of King Charles III, Camilla Parker Bowles, has sparked fresh racism storm after she is filmed picking up a black child by the sleeves while donating Paddington bears at Barnados Nursery in East London on Thursday. And I think Newsweek might be the only, I don't know, I hadn't checked for screenshots of the Daily Mail, and I'm actually really happy that squatties have been laying off the Daily Mail. So I have not seen any screenshots from them, so thankfully. But I did see this. Newsweek, Queen Camilla, awkward interaction with small child, sparks race debate. Press footage captured from event shows Camilla meeting the charities preschoolers. One particular exchange between the royal and a young black child has sparked comments, with some questioning whether the awkward encounter had anything to do with the child's skin color. In the clip, widely shared on Twitter, Camilla is shown to pick up the young girl's arm by the sleeves of her shirt rather than her wrist. Yes. It is just really hilarious to me. And maybe I should have talked about Princess Diana before I even got to Queen Camilla. But it's very, very interesting to me, even, with all of that racist behavior by Camilla. I think this is more, when we think in terms of the royal family and events they do with children, this is more what we think of in terms of, say, people who love to be around children, royals who love to be around children. These are the images you'd want to beam around the world. These are the images you'd want to see when you think about the royals. And, if they had any sense, they would really, imitate Princess Diana, not just her actions, but try to understand her heart about being around children, especially Black and brown children, about the care that you need. And again, it's not about imitating in the sense of just doing action, but getting to know the community of people and getting to know the people who are in the charity, not just show up with a bunch of press just for attention. And Diana's warmth and her, when she was, before she was married, she worked in a nursery. So she's used to being around children. She has a heart for children. She has a passion for children. She gets down and dirty with children. As we all know, who's taught children, one of the things with kids, when you're around kids, you have to, come dressed as you understand that they are kids. They will get everything about them will be all over you, including snot and all. Whatever is about them, they're going to a place where toddlers are and having issues with touching. I mean, one, especially in the age of COVID, they shouldn't be touching anybody's kids. That's first and foremost. And if they do, make sure you're obviously sanitized and everything. They should not be touching anyone. But if they are going to touch someone, look at the heart. I mean, when you think in terms of royalty, this is the heart you think of. This is the kind of love and the care and the spontaneity and being in the moment with the needs of a child. You know, it's just like, I love this, the picture on the top with Princess Diana, the little girl, and she's all fascinated by Princess Diana's necklace thing that she's wearing. And it's just the joy. Look at, the bottom picture with the little, I mean, just looking at them. With the little boy there's a whole video of this with him just wanting to hug her, and she just went down, scooped him up, lifted him up in her arms, and just rocked him. And this little boy was just like, oh my gosh, and this, I think, was in 1995, but this little boy was just, he just wanted to hug. He wanted a hug, and she met his needs. And that is the thing. I mean, look at the picture at the top. I think this might have been in Angola, where with the landmines and all the kids who have lost legs because of the landmines. And so here she is. I mean, this is you meeting the needs of the kids, even if their cameras around. I mean, the reason we have pictures of Princess Diana was because their cameras around, because she's highlighting the charity that she's going. It's not just an event for a photo op. She's literally meeting the needs of kids in the moment. And so this is the kind of thing, the kind of heart, the kind of passion for kids that you need to have if you're going to go around kids, if you're going to be around toddlers, especially. You have to go there with the mindset of, I am here to meet your need. Wherever you are is where, if you're underground rolling around, that's where I am. And you see the same thing in Harry and Meghan. Look at this with Princess Diana. And I remember this picture in South Africa. And this little boy just went up and just hugged Meghan. I mean, it's like, mama, and it's just this all heart. That's the thing about kids. When you're with them, everything about them, and when they feel like safe with you, everything about them come and drops right on you. I know, I taught them. And one of the things I would always teach is, when you're coming into my class, make sure you dress in dark colors that you don't mind getting messy, because they are kids, and this is Harry with that little boy with the tree. It's so funny. He grew up, and Harry had given him some galoshes, and he just walked around in those galoshes forever. But it's just like the heart, that they have for people. That's when you think in terms of kids, that's just the heart you want to see. And if you're a royal, this is the heart you want to have, not just pretend when the camera is there, So, which is when we talk about the articles that we were looking at before with Queen Camilla and her snafu, this is Queen Camilla with kids today. And she went to this place to give out those Paddington bears. I think when the Queen died, people, I think the Queen did this Paddington skit during the the Jubilee. And so they have latched on to this Paddington thing. So when she died, tons of people brought all these bears and to where they did the flowers and all that stuff. So what they did, this charity took the bears and they cleaned them, whatever they did to completely clean them, so that way they can give them to kids around. Now, the charity should have been the one who was giving these kids. The people in the charity who've done that job should have been the ones with this engagement. But of course, the royal family needs to come in for publicity. They come in for pictures. So, oh, look, we're going to be around kids. Oh, look, there's a Black child picture. Let me take some, photo op. And so it's kind of wild that this is part of a video, if you haven't seen it, that it's, I get whoever it is that did the press video. This was all part of the video that was on the Royal Family Channel. I don't know that I don't think the Royal Family Channel is run by the Royal Family, but they are obviously Royal Family friendly. And so all of this clip is on that video. With Camilla's running, first of all, she is in this nursery with all of these toddlers, none of whom are interested in her at all. One, she's not dressed to be around toddlers, first and foremost. She is not really, it's kind of like, oh, like, you want a bed? I'm like, you're dealing with toddlers. They're crying, they're fussy, they're not paying attention to nothing. They want nothing to do with this person, this strange person that they don't know that just walked into a room. And so part of the video is this interaction with this little girl, this little black girl, as you can see. And Camilla is commenting, the little girl is wearing a little bracelet, and she's commenting on the little girl's bracelet. And she may have said nice bracelet or something like that. And so, first of all, she's trying to interact with the girl. The little girl is just standing there, not doing anything. She didn't offer her a hand or anything. Camilla decides to pick up the child's arm by the bracelet or the cuff of her shirt. And one could say, well, she's probably trying to not touch her hand because of germs or whatever, and kids just put their hands, in their face or whatever. Granted, if the little girl, did not offer her hand, she shouldn't be touching the child in the first place. And then if you're going to pick up a child's arm, you don't just pick up a child's arm like you're picking up a tissue, like a soiled tissue paper or something. It's just the most awkward thing in the world to pick up the child's arm the way she did. And it was just like, oh my gosh. It is just like, she literally looks like she's picking up like, some soiled tissue paper on the ground, and you use another tissue because you don't want your hand to touch the soiled tissue. That's what it looks like. And it's just the most like, ew. And it's just so stark. And it's just like, what are you doing? And the whole video is kind of like this awkward, her trying to, give bears to kids who are just like, you're around a bunch of toddlers, who don't know you and who just are fussy. And so there is no amount of, okay, if I'm going to be here and give, and I'm going to give these bears, let me get on the floor with them. They're on the floor. Let me get on the floor with them. Let me, interact with them in some way. And, and some parts of the video, she was able to give the toy or give it to the teacher, and the teacher give the toy. But it was just like, when she was done with the little girl, just like kind of like stood there, and then she just sort of walked off. The little girl, she looked like her arm, she looked like she knew that like something was on her arm or something. It was just the weirdest. And when you look at it, it literally looks like, I don't want to touch your skin. So let me use the bracelet or the cuff of your sleeve to lift your arm that maybe I'm not supposed to even be touching, so that I don't touch your skin. And I don't want to, I don't want to put stuff in people's heart, and maybe her heart could be totally pure, and she just really wanted to see the bracelet, and she made, you can make all kind of, reasoning for Camilla doing it. But this is my thing yet again. Camilla came into a situation where, one, she was not dressed, she was not prepared for, she had no intention of really bonding with any of these kids. All of it was simply for a photo op. That's what this was about. I'm going to come in with teddy bears so I can look good, and especially with the black kids, so that people wouldn't think I'm racist. And then proceeded to have these awkward moments, which was only, the whole thing was, I need good press. I'm going to bring cameras there so they can take my picture, interacting with babies that really just, it's like, go away from these kids, And again, if that's not bad enough, and then you see this other interaction with her and this little girl. Now, it kind of cut to this where this little girl was near her. So whether the little girl came over to her or not, I don't know. But there is Camilla, and you're thinking, oh, here she is holding this little black girl, and her other arm, her right arm is holding the little girl's hand, as you can see in the top photo, and her left hand is around the little girl's back. And, okay, great. She is interacting with this little girl, And then at the bottom, the video, in the bottom, when she's holding her hand, and then a flash goes off. And the moment the flash goes off, you realize what's happening. She was holding the girl's hand for a photo to be taken. And in the bottom picture, I mean, the video, I'm going to put a link to the video so you can see what I'm talking about. In the bottom, the minute she let go of the little girl's hands, the way she looks at her hand, it was almost like, I need to clean my hand or something. And then in the top right photo is with Camilla. She had her hand, she's like holding her hand is so weird. It's almost like, can somebody pass me some wet wipes? Can somebody pass me some sanitary, not some sanitizer or something so I could clean the way it was very obvious. The way she was holding her hand is kind of like, I need to clean it, and you think, but it's and then you look at the bottom picture, and again, if you didn't believe me that it was a photo op, because in the video you see the flash goes off. In the bottom picture, that big green circle thing you can see. In the video, you can see the still camera. This is what she is doing. The still camera is there, and it's for a photo. She's only holding this little girl's hand for the photo, and also, because again, when the flash went off, after the minute the flash went off, she let go of the little girl's hand, and then started to do, trying to check her hand. And it's just like, again, the reason why you're going around kids, and the fact that they're using these kids as props. And it's so galling, and it's so appalling. I mean, we've all had, to be fair, we've all probably have had awkward encounters with kids, because kids are unpredictable. They're not, you know what I mean? They're no one minute they're fine, and the next minute they'll be screaming at the top of your lungs, like, like they're being killed or something. And then the next minute they're smiling, and the next minute they're running. So kids are, we've all had awkward moments with kids at some time or another. So I'm not just coming at her as like, oh my gosh, she's the only person to have had an awkward moment with a child. But my thing is more about, why are you there? And the fact that using children, these are toddlers, using children for photo ops, using children as props for popularity. And it's like, again, coming into a space that you're completely unprepared to come into. This should have been a thing where, if you're going to come in there with cameras and stuff like that, you needed to have gone to this place before, build a relationship with these kids. They know you. So that when you come back, again, you're coming into a room that these kids don't know you. And on top of that, you're bringing photographers and all of these stuff with you. So of course the kids are, scared. I mean, if you see in the video, you look at all of these kids, none of them are smiling, none of that. I mean, they look terrified. They look almost traumatized. Even the one she's hugging. And so again, it's just like, why? Why is the royal family allowed to do this? Why are parents approving for them to use their kids as props? And this is the part that I really find galling and appalling, because they're not making any time to actually get to know these kids. It's come in, I'm going to wear my fancy dress, be all decked out, come in, sit with kids, and so my photo is taken, and there I've done a good deed for the day. And this is the thing that really is bad enough when they use adults as props, but it's even more galling when they use children, and little black children on top of that. So anyways, it just, come down from that. Finally, Invictus Games, something positive away from Shutter Island, something positive to end with. Invictus Game Foundation says, we hope you are entering the weekend with as much energy as the New Zealand Invictus team. Friday feeling. We haven't seen New Zealand at the Invictus Games since Sydney 2018. We can't wait to welcome you back at Dusseldorf next year. Yes, very excited. So it's very exciting that New Zealand will be back at the games next year. And Invictus Dusseldorf. They tweeted one of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what another has to say. Bryant McGill, and says the day of listening as a day of attention. Listen to what your counterparts has to say. There are many ways to create impact. We are the Invictus Games family. And so I love those pictures at the bottom. And there they are, featuring somebody of color, which is what I called them out for the other day in that video. Not enough people of color, black and brown people in your videos. So I'm very happy to see featuring whoever these two gentlemen are. I'm very happy to see. Kudos, Invictus Dusseldorf. So that's I am very excited. I'm very, very excited about the games next year. Fingers crossed we'll be there in Dusseldorf. But and it's so important, the day of listening. And so I guess that is today. So I will make sure that I, call and my friends and listen to wherever it is they are, and, just really listen and not try to add input or anything like that. Just listen. And I really, really love that. So kudos, the Invictus Games Dusseldorf and the Invictus Games Foundation. So anyways, again, that's it, guys. That's all I got to share. I'm glad we could end on a positive note away from Shutter Island. And again, enjoy the fact that our faves had an opportunity to go out and really give and in multiple ways to the community out there in Los Angeles. So awesome. So thank you, guys. I am going to drop this videos at some point later on today, and one or more of our moderators, I'm sure, will be on the chat. But thank you so much, Lydia Churchnelli, Karen M, Julia Rock, Peas and Cream, whoever of you will be on the chat later on today. I know you guys do such a fantastic job, and I appreciate every single thing you do in helping us to make our chat safe and fun. And thank you so much to our 2 Cents crew members who support the chats monthly, support the podcast monthly. I appreciate you so much for, out of the kindness of your heart, supporting the channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And also to all of our Gold Star supporters who support the channel, whether it's by super thanks, super chats, super stickers, PayPal, Cash App, merchandise, however it is you support the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to put our banner back there. For all of you who have not, if you're new here and you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Definitely will appreciate your support, and please share, like, and share the videos. We're trying to build a community, and we are at 5.3 right now, and so trying to get to 6,000 would be amazing. So any help that you can offer would be most amazing. So just go ahead and like the video, and also share it with your friends and family so we can continue to grow the channel. And you can join our 2 Cents crew. Definitely, if you're able, go ahead and join the channel, and that would be quite wonderful. So thank you, guys. I really, really, really appreciate it. That's it, guys. Have a fantastic day. Hopefully in the next couple of days I will do a live. My schedule is a little bit crazy at the moment, so that's why I'm not able to do lives at the moment, but hopefully in the next few days that will change and I can do a live, and I could be hanging with you in a live. But I'll be in the chat with it when I post this one, so I get to hang out with you that way. So anyways, I love you all, and I will talk to you shortly. Bye.